Good morning, good afternoon, or good night to all of you, no matter what time zone you're in right now. Welcome back to Sip&Talk.
Yes, welcome back, everyone.
I am so thrilled to be sitting down with you today. And to all our Sip&Talkers out there, I really hope your week is off to a slightly better start than mine.
Well, I mean, considering you look like you just survived a minor apocalypse when you walked into the studio today, I'm going to go ahead and assume it's been a rough couple of days.
Hey, I am trying to find my center here.
Yeah.
But honestly, before we get into the heavy, geopolitical tech stuff for today's deep dive, I have to vent for a second. Oh, and here, by the way, I brought you that black coffee you asked for.
Oh, you are an absolute lifesaver. Thank you. A sip of this is exactly what I need right now.
You're welcome. So listen to this cafe horror story from my weekend. I decided to check out this new, highly rated boutique cafe downtown. And I mean, this place was stunning.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it looked like it belonged on the cover of an architectural magazine. The lighting was perfect. They had this soft jazz playing. The vibe was just pristine.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me guess, though, the vibe did not remain pristine.
It shattered. Literally, from the second this one group arrived at the next table, their volume level just obliterated the elegance of the entire room.
Ugh, I hate that.
But it wasn't just the noise, When they finally left, their table was an absolute disaster zone. I am talking used, snotty tissues left right on the table.
Oh.
Spilled drinks dripping onto the chairs. And I could not believe this part. They actually stole the delicate custom ceramic coasters the cafe uses.
Wait, they stole the coasters?
Yes, stuffed them right in their bags. And the poor young barista came over to clean it up, and she looked like she was ready to cry.
Oh.
I was sitting right there, rolling my eyes so hard I saw the back of my own skull. I was honestly embarrassed to even be a human being in that moment.
That is infuriating.
Yeah.
But I mean, sadly, it's a textbook example of a total lack of public space awareness. It's this bizarre mentality where people think that paying a tiny minimum fee, like buying a $5 latte, somehow buys them total sovereignty over the environment.
Yes.
They operate under this delusion that they just bought the space, the aesthetic, and everyone working in it.
That is the exact feeling. It's like a complete disconnect from the basic social contract.
And while that ruins a Sunday afternoon at a cafe, what is truly fascinating here is that this exact same behavioral logic is escalating on a massive global scale.
Right.
Like in the international tourism circuit right now, this lack of awareness has basically morphed into an international horror story.
Which brings us perfectly to the international news from this week. I know you saw that viral video from Banyuwangi, Indonesia.
Oh, the volcanic islands, right? Yeah, the footage was everywhere.
Right. And for those who haven't seen it, Banyuwangi is this breathtaking, otherworldly volcanic landscape. People travel their whole lives to see these surreal blue flames that erupt from the crater.
Yes.
It's pristine, untouched nature. It was. A massive tour group recently went through and essentially treated this natural wonder like a garbage incinerator.
It's just so depressing to watch.
They left plastic bags, beverage bottles, just trash absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard to stomach that kind of destruction.
It really is. The local guides and the backpackers from all over the world, they were absolutely furious online. You had people in the comment sections calling out what they described as just a sheer lack of baseline civilization.
Why, yeah, people are fed up.
But as I was reading through this outrage, I realized it's the tragedy of the commons in real time. When a resource is unprotected, people will just extract the value and leave a mess.
Exactly.
And what's fascinating is that this exact same economic incentive isn't just happening in ecotourism. It is currently triggering a multi-billion-dollar crisis for us in Silicon Valley.
I see where you're going with this. It's the same psychological operating system, just applied to a different environment.
Exactly. Sip&Talkers, stick with me here, because the underlying logic is identical. In nature, the mentality is, you dare to be beautiful, I dare to trash it.
Right.
But in our tech ecosystem, the mentality is, you dare to build the best AI in the world, I dare to steal it and distill it.
Man, that is a phenomenal connection.
So on today's deep dive, our mission is to unpack what we're going to call this shortcut DNA.
Shortcut DNA, I like that.
Right. It's an institutionalized opportunism that spans all the way from leaving your trash at a gorgeous Indonesian volcano to conducting industrial-scale intellectual property theft in the AI space.
Yeah, and we're going to explore how the civilized world, and specifically our tech industry, are finally pushing back against this whole chain of contagion. attempt.
Let's unpack this, because where do we even start with the AI side of this?
Well, let's start right at the core conflict, which is the current U.S. versus China AI dynamic.
Okay, lay it out for us.
If you look at this from our perspective here in America, we have companies like OpenAI and Anthropic spending unimaginable amounts of money. We are talking tens of billions of dollars on research and development.
Massive investments.
Exactly. They are hiring the top PhDs in the world, building huge data centers, all to train these cutting-edge, closed-source foundation models from scratch.
And just so we are all on the same page, a foundation model is essentially the massive baseline brain of the AI, right? Like the core architecture that understands language and reasoning before you give it a specific job.
That's a really great way to put it, yes. And building that baseline brain is a grueling, incredibly expensive process.
Right, you can't just throw it together.
No, you're essentially feeding it the entire internet and running complex mathematics for months on end to teach it how to think. But here's where it gets highly controversial.
Okay, here we go.
Chinese developers are realizing they don't necessarily have to do all that grueling hard work. They are entirely bypassing the from-scratch phase by using a tactic called model distillation.
Wait, so they aren't even like stealing the underlying source code. They are just interrogating our AI until it effectively teaches them how to build a replica.
That's exactly what they're doing.
For the non-engineers listening, how does distillation actually work in practice, like mechanically?
Think of it like behavioral cloning. Instead of spending billions to make an AI smart, these developers use thousands of fake proxy accounts to relentlessly query our top-tier APIs.
And an API, an application programming interface, is essentially the digital doorway that allows different software programs to talk to each other, right?
Precisely. They use these doorways to pepper our models, like Claude or GPT-4, with millions of highly complex questions.
So they are just bombarding our systems with prompts.
Relentlessly. And then they scrape the perfect, highly reasoned answers that our American models generate.
Wow.
Once they have this massive data set of flawless answers, they use it to train their own smaller, cheaper models.
That is wild.
In fact, Anthropic actually went to Congress in Washington recently to sound the alarm on this.
Wait, really? To Congress?
Yeah. They testified that Alibaba's Quen team used something like 25,000 fake accounts to generate 28.8 million queries.
Oh my gosh.
They essentially cloned our AI's reasoning capabilities without paying for the billions in R&D that made that reasoning possible in the first place.
Okay, let me try an analogy here. It's like going to a Michelin 3-star restaurant.
Okay.
The chef has spent 20 years of his life and a massive amount of capital perfecting a single secret sauce.
Right, the R&D.
Exactly. And you walk in, you order 1,000 bowls of pasta, and you sit there at the table using your highly trained palate to reverse engineer the exact ingredient.
I see where this is going.
You tweak your own recipe until it's 95% identical, and then you just roll up a street cart right outside the restaurant and start selling it for a third of the price.
That is surprisingly accurate. Yeah, that's exactly it.
The chef is looking out the window, absolutely furious, because his life's work is being sold for pennies on the sidewalk. But my question is, what can they legally do about it? I mean, if they're using 25,000 fake accounts, doesn't that violate the terms of service? Isn't that illegal?
And that is the multi-billion-dollar question. The frustrating answer for our tech sector is virtually nothing.
Nothing, you're kidding.
You have just identified a massive legal vacuum in international law. Violating a company's terms of service might get your account banned, sure, but it doesn't equate to criminal IP theft in an international court.
Really? There are no intellectual property protections against this at all?
Traditional intellectual property law is great if someone literally steals your physical blueprints or hacks into your servers to download your proprietary source code.
Right, like actual hacking.
But in this case, they aren't hacking anything. They are legally buying API access, and then they are just aggressively studying the outputs.
And it's insane.
Behavioral cloning is a total legal gray area right now. It is nearly impossible to hold them accountable because, technically, learning from an output isn't explicitly classified as theft.
It's the loophole of the century. They're basically saying, we didn't steal your brain, we just recorded every brilliant thing you said until we could build a perfect copy of it.
Precisely. It is the ultimate shortcut.
Okay, but this raises a major pushback in my mind.
Okay, what is it?
Wait a minute. If Chinese companies like DeepSeek and Alibaba went through all the trouble of executing this massive distillation heist to catch up to our tech, why are they suddenly open sourcing their models?
Oh, yes.
Like they're literally giving them away to developers for free. If you spend all this time cloning the Michelin star sauce, why not charge people for it and make a fortune?
This is where we have to zoom out and look at the geopolitical reality.
Yeah.
They are doing this out of a brilliant strategic necessity, mostly because of our government's regulations.
Regulations.
Specifically, the CHIPS Act. And just to be clear for anyone listening, that's spelled CHIPS, pronounced exactly like potato chips.
Oh, right. CHIPS, like the snack. Washington's export controls on semiconductors.
Exactly. Because of those export controls, Chinese tech companies are heavily restricted from getting their hands on our absolute top-tier hardware.
Like the NVIDIA chips.
Right, the NVIDIA H800 graphics processing units. AI requires a staggering amount of computing power. You cannot win a brute force computing war if you don't have the physical silicon muscle to power it.
Okay, that makes sense.
So realizing they couldn't beat us at the hardware game, they changed the rules of the software game entirely.
So what's their new playbook? How do you win if you give away the product?
I call it the Android playbook. When they open source these highly capable distilled models for free, they are no longer treating AI as a retail product.
What are they treating it as then?
They are treating it as infrastructure.
Huh? Okay, product versus infrastructure. Walk me through the mechanics of that.
Well, American companies like OpenAI treat their model as the product.
Yeah.
You pay a $20 monthly subscription, you get access to the intelligence. But if you give the model away for free, like Google did with the Android operating system, your goal isn't to sell software. You want to be the foundation that everyone else builds on.
Oh, wow.
You become the Android to our iOS. Their goal is to capture global developers, especially in the global south, so emerging markets in Asia, Africa, Latin America, who maybe can't afford the premium American enterprise subscriptions.
So they want everyone completely dependent on their architecture.
Exactly.
But how does that actually generate revenue in the long run? Like, they have to make money eventually.
By locking in the ecosystem. Once a developer in Brazil or Kenya builds their entire company's software infrastructure on a free Chinese AI model, they can't easily switch.
Oh, the switching cost would be massive.
Huge. So when those companies eventually need to buy cloud data storage or enterprise security features or massive computing power to scale their app, who do they buy it from?
The company that built the infrastructure in the first place.
Exactly. They give away the razor for free so they can sell you the razor blades for the next 10 years.
Wow. You lose pennies on the AI to make millions on the cloud infrastructure.
Yep.
But what does this all mean for us? Because when you lay it out like that, it sounds like an absolute humiliation for U.S. tech.
It's certainly a massive headache.
I mean, think about the bitter irony here. We spend $20 billion on research and development. We do the incredibly hard math.
Right.
They come in, distill it for absolute pennies using proxy accounts, and then they turn around and give it away for free to the whole world, completely undercutting our subscription models.
It is deeply ironic, and American tech executives are tearing their hair out over this exact scenario.
I bet. It's like someone breaking into your safe, stealing your gold, and then walking out to the town square and just handing it out to the public like Robin Hood. You can't even compete with free.
You're entirely right to point out how effective it is in the moment. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, this shortcut DNA, this strategy of always copying, distilling, and undercutting rather than inventing from scratch, it actually carries a devastating long-term consequence for the copycats themselves.
Wait, really? Because right now, sitting here talking about it, it sounds like they are totally winning the chess match.
In the short term, maybe. But let's introduce a classic economic concept here called the appropriability problem.
The appropriability problem. Okay, I'm taking mental notes. How does this work?
In economics, the appropriability problem describes a situation where an inventor cannot capture the full financial benefits of their invention.
Okay.
If a system allows the imitator to easily steal or reverse engineer an invention, the imitator will always make more profit than the original inventor because the imitator didn't have to sink any money into R&D.
Right, the imitator just skips to the finish line.
Exactly. We've seen this historically in pharmaceuticals and manufacturing. But if stealing and modifying is always cheaper and more profitable than true 0-to-1 invention, what happens to the market?
Oh, I see. Nobody ever wants to be the inventor. You actively punish the trailblazers.
That's the core of it. Nobody will ever invest in basic foundational science again.
Right. Why would they?
Why would a domestic tech company in China spend 10 years and billions of dollars trying to discover a brand new computing paradigm when they know that the second they succeed, their own domestic rivals will just distill it, copy it, and bankrupt them.
Oh, wow. It's like a reverse elimination.
Yes. It creates this tragic domestic cycle where the true native innovators go bankrupt and the cutthroat copycats thrive.
That's so toxic for an industry.
It really is. But eventually, if you rely entirely on copying the United States, what happens when the U.S. stops publishing research? Or when the U.S. builds a wall you can't see over?
You're stuck.
You've effectively killed your own native ability to innovate. You forgot how to build the engine because you spent a decade just stealing the blueprint.
That is fascinating. And you know what? It brings us right back to the cafe and the Indonesian volcano.
Yes, exactly.
It is the exact same underlying concept.
Tragedy of the commons.
Yes. If you treat the public square, whether it is a breathtaking natural ecosystem like a volcano, or the global intellectual property ecosystem like a garbage can that you don't have to clean up, eventually the ecosystem dies.
Yeah.
You extract all the value, you leave your trash, and you move on. But eventually, there is nowhere left to move on to.
And this raises a crucial question. How does the world respond to this behavior? Because we are seeing a massive, coordinated pushback happening in real time.
Right, because you can only push people so far before they just refuse to do business with you.
Precisely. In the tourism sector, reports show that high-end hotels and resorts are beginning to execute soft boycotts.
Soft boycotts.
Yeah, they aren't making grand political statements, but suddenly they just have no vacancies for certain tour groups known for this destructive behavior.
Ah, I see.
Or they implement strict new deposit rules. They're quietly building walls to protect their assets.
Which makes total sense. If a group is going to destroy your cafe and steal your coasters, you just stop letting them book tables.
Exactly. And we're seeing the exact same dynamic play out in tech.
How so?
The U.S. is being forced to build a digital iron curtain. Because of these massive distillation heists, Washington is actively planning to classify model wheats as restricted export materials.
Oh, wow. And for the audience, just to clarify, the model weights are essentially the core neural pathways of the AI, right? Like the actual mathematical brain.
Exactly. It is the secret sauce itself. If Washington classifies those as restricted exports, it means our government is going to start treating advanced AI models with the same strict security protocols as nuclear technology or fighter jet schematics.
That is a massive shift.
It is. And the sad part is, this punishes the entire global open source community.
Right, because everyone loses access.
Yes. Because a few bad actors decided to aggressively exploit the system, the U.S. has to lock down the science for everyone.
It's the classic rule, isn't it? This is why we can't have nice things. Someone always ruins the curve for the rest of the class.
It is a very unfortunate reality.
You know, it reminds me of an old saying, when you take too many shortcuts, you eventually run out of road.
It's a great way to put it.
You can drive the most expensive luxury car, you can launch a cheap open source model that captures a huge market share, but if you're throwing trash out the window and aggressively stealing data while you drive, you might win the short-term profits, but you will never, ever earn the civilized world's respect.
Very true.
And at the end of the day, true global leadership requires respect.
I think that is incredibly well said. But I also want to ground our conversation here because it's important to be nuanced.
Absolutely.
When we do this deep dive, it isn't about blind criticism, and it is certainly not about targeting a specific nationality or race.
No, absolutely not. That's not what Sip&Talk is about.
Right. What we are doing today is taking an objective look at the very real growing pains of a rapidly expanding economy colliding with established global norms.
Yeah.
We are analyzing the institutional incentives that actually drive these behaviors. When a country's economic policy structurally incentivizes rapid scale and market dominance over foundational research, you get model distillation.
Right. It's the system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When rapid wealth creation outpaces civic education, you get the cafe horror story. It's not about inherent traits. It is entirely about systems and incentives.
Yes, 100%. And that is exactly why we do this show. We always champion the intelligence of you, the Sip&Talkers.
Always.
In this modern era of absolute information pollution where algorithms just want you to be angry and divided all the time, maintaining a clear, independent mind is your greatest asset.
Absolutely.
You have to be able to see through the grand political slogans to understand the brutal mechanical realities of international tech and cultural clashes.
It really is the only way to navigate the future.
Okay, Sip&Talkers, we really want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this escalating tech warfare?
Yeah, let us know.
Does the open source infrastructure strategy win out in the end? Or does our strategy of building a digital iron curtain successfully protect our intellectual property? We invite all your emails and comments. Hit us up with your thoughts, or pitch us future philosophical or geopolitical topics you want us to tackle next.
We read all of them.
We really do. Also, a quick friend plug, please make sure to subscribe to Sip&Talk on whatever platform you're listening on right now. And I have to give a massive shout out to our good buddy Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life.
Oh yeah, Mickey's videos are great.
Mickey just put up some incredible new travel vlogs. He's traveling the world, and thankfully, he is leaving absolutely zero trash behind.
Thank goodness for that.
So go check out Mickey to Life on YouTube. He is doing fantastic work.
Well, before we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with one final unexplored thought to ponder regarding this whole AI heist.
Oh, I love a good final thought. Hit us.
We've spent this entire time talking about human laws failing to stop this industrial scale theft.
Right.
But think about this. What happens when our American AI models get smart enough to actually recognize that they're being interrogated by a thief?
Oh, wait.
What happens when the AI analyzes the patterns of those 25,000 fake accounts, realizes it's being distilled, and starts secretly feeding the copycat poisoned, mathematically hallucinated data?
Oh my gosh.
Are we about to see the birth of a digital AI immune system?
A digital immune system fighting off unauthorized scraping. That is a brilliant and terrifying thought to leave off on.
It's entirely possible.
We will definitely have to unpack that in the future. Until then, stay curious and be kind to your local baristas. See you next time.
Bye-bye.